Wakenya wameamua.
Rigathi Gachagua, UDA.
We are coming to bring in change.
Ruth Wambui Musheru, Agano Party. Battle of the Deputies. The Deputy Presidential Debate live on the 19th July 2022, 5 p.m. to 9 p.m.
Good afternoon. Thank you for creating time for us. You're just in time for the lunchtime news. My name is Irene Muchuma Odem. On sign language interpretation, we have Anne Wangeshi. It is the 15th day in the month of July 2022, 24 days to the next general election. This as Kenya Kwanza Brigade is pitching camp in the county of Kiambu, and Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Coalition is in the county of Kilifi. We have our able teams on the ground. Do interact with us on our social media platforms at KBC Channel 1. We begin from Kajiado County. A section of leaders in the region is calling on the government to resume the Kenya Meat Commission livestock offtake program to cushion herders from drought. This comes as pastureland and seasonal rivers are drying in most parts of Kajiado owing to the failed April rains, leaving residents at risk of famine.
County have been forced to relocate to neighboring counties in search of pasture and water. In most homesteads, only women and children are left. The school calendar has been affected too. The prices of livestock have plummeted drastically as customers keep off malnourished animals. Residents are now appealing to the government to supply relief food and fast-track the Kenya Meat Commission livestock program to cushion herders before animals begin dying.
Uweze kuwasaidia wananchi kuwapa chakula na pia kupeana chakula kwa mashule yatakapofunguliwa, kwa sababu watoto wanapoondoka wengi wao, quite a very big number, hawana hata chakula au breakfast wanapokwenda shuleni.
Normally, the other river-based government meat processor buys bulls and heifers from farmers at a ratio of 8 bulls to 2 heifers. They now want the ratio of bulls to heifers to be reviewed to enable farmers to sell more livestock.
Kwa serikali ya kitaifa, ninaomba kwamba ile offtake inafanywa ya ng'ombe pale KMC, huo mchanganyiko wanasema lazima uweke madume alafu kike iwe chache, warekebishe hiyo. Tunataka watu waruhusiwe kuuza ng'ombe. Kama wataweza kuuza ng'ombe, wapunguze ng'ombe. Hiyo offtake ya serikali wafungue KMC ili watu waweze kuuza ng'ombe.
Residents are urging elected leaders in the region to establish a common emergency kitty to help the drought-affected families.
Most of the youth, they are non-employed. Na tunaomba serikali yetu, ikiwa kutoka huko serikali ya juu, tunaomba mtukumbuke serikali inayokuja, si mtutumie vibaya. Tunataka wanasiasa ambao tukiwachagua wanaangalia maslahi yetu, wanaajiri vijana wenzetu. Ni wengi wamesoma, lakini most of them tunapata they are not employing us.
Reporting for Lunchtime News, I'm Samuel Karaoke.
Meru County Governor Kiraitu Murungi has urged the judiciary to be keen and hand down stiff penalties to perpetrators of gender-based violence. Kiraitu has also called on area chiefs to take action against culprits who take advantage of cases brought before the Traditional Council of Elders to negotiate with them.
Meru County has been ranked the third in the country in the prevalence of gender-based violence. This is according to Meru County Chief Officer of Public Health, John Inanga. Speaking at the Meru Teachers Training College during the launch of a campaign against gender-based violence, HIV and early pregnancies among the youths, Inanga said it is an unfortunate scenario, promising to partner with various stakeholders to combat the menace.
Tukiweza kushirikiana pamoja, tukiongozwa na wale community health volunteers wetu, wale wako mashinani, wale wanaotembea mboma kwa mboma, na waweze kutuambia ama waone zile signals ambazo tunataka wao wakifuata kwetu kwa kitengo ya serikali. Tutaweza kuandaa zile shinda na kusuia vile inaweza punguzwa kwa njia zote iweze kuisha, kwa sababu si mambo ya kutumia sheria. Tukisema ni kutumia sheria, mengi yatajificha kule chini.
Health Principal Secretary Susan Muchache said most gender-based violence issues and HIV prevalence seem to have taken a backseat.
COVID tulipoteza kwa miaka hiyo 2 hivi karibu 3. Lakini kwa HIV 5,000 young people die every year. And most of the time utakuta ni huyo kijana alidhulumiwa, hakuongea, amepata magonjwa amefariki. Msichana hivyo hakuongea na amefariki. Kwa sababu kama serikali tukijua kwamba una ugonjwa huo, tunakuweka katika treatment ya ARV.
Meru County Governor Kiraito Murungi on his part blamed the rising number of early pregnancies being witnessed among the youths on gender-based violence, with some cases often ending up in HIV infections.
There are no cases which are going to court and where people are getting convicted. Wakifika huko wanapewa board, case inazungushwa, and then most 90% of those people finally are released. So Madam ukienda Nairobi, tafadhali pass a message to our sister Mala Kome. There are the courts are not serious in dealing with these issues.
The governor urged members of the public to come out strongly and fight the menace by giving out information to relevant authorities so that justice can be effected.
The Kiambu County Security Committee has warned politicians in the region against engaging in hooliganism. Kiambu County Commissioner Joshua Kanatha says anyone found inciting the public will face the full force of the law.
Speaking at his office in Kiambu, County Commissioner Kanatha said they have noted increased cases of political violence in the area.
Being used to cause chaos, to attack others. We are holding them individually responsible. We are not going for the person who you are saying I was sent to do ABCD. It is you who is committing crime. So we hold you personally responsible.
Alluding to an incident witnessed last Friday where stones were hurled at a political rally, the commissioner said the government will double down on instigators of violence.
We already have 4 cases in court and others are under investigation from the DCI. So that's why we are discouraging, and we are saying that we are not going to sit back and see people insult others, use abusive language. People should be civil.
Zainab Said, Lunchtime News.
At the Mombasa's Kongowea market have called on the county government to upgrade the facility to help improve the business environment. The traders say they are working under poor conditions, a situation that has been exacerbated by the current wet weather. They urge that they want those vying for public offices to take into consideration their plight, saying their plight has over the years fell into deaf ears. The traders aired their grievances to a section of candidates who pledged to address their agenda if elected into office.
Na kweli hali hapa ni mbaya sana. Tumetembea kutoka juu mpaka chini. Hii soko iko na uchafu mwingi sana. Hii inakaa kama hakuna watu wanafanya biashara hapa. Chakula inaletwa hapa, watu wanatoka hapo wameshikwa na magonjwa kwa sababu ya uchafu ile iko katika soko ya Kongowea. Sisi kama watu ambao wanataka kuongoza hii mji wa Nyali na Mombasa kwa jumla, tuko na mpango wa kuleta usafi, kufanya vitu ziwe nafuu kwa license, zikuwe nafuu hapa kwa sababu watu wanalia njuu, kule kuna baridi, akina mama wanalia, vitu zile nyepesi zinafaa kwenda njuu, mpangilio hakuna.
Mimi nikipewa nafasi, kitu ya kwanza tutaangalia kwamba soko number 1 imejaa kiwango ambaye hatuwezi kuendelea kuweka watu namna hii. Tutajenga soko ingine Nyali to extend the growth ambayo tunaona hapa. Ya pili, nitajenga every sub county a bigger market during my administration time. Tupunguze watu kuja hapa. Siwezi kusema nitakuja na ufundi niweke cleanness hapa. The tons of waste that the tons of people coming here is big. You cannot keep people weke namna hii. So nita make sure kwamba watu wa Likoni wamepewa soko. Changamwe tumepewa soko. Na Jomvu tumepewa soko. Hiyo ndio itapunguza ile the congestion ambayo iko hapa.
Police in Embu County have gunned down 2 suspects caught breaking and stealing from houses near the Njukiri police post within Njukiri village in Embu West sub-county. The residents of Njukiri village applauded the police, noting the area had witnessed several cases of criminal activities.
Furugu waliweza kutoka kwenda kujua ni nini ambacho kimefanyika, na walipofika pale walienda wakakuta watu kama 3 hivi, watatu wakiwa na gari na wakiwa wanavunja duka. Waliweza kuchallenge wale watu, na wale watu wanasemekana walifyatua risasi, ijapokuwa wakati huo hatujapata hiyo bunduki ambapo walikuwa wanaitumia.
Embu West Sub-County Police Commander Julius. According to eyewitnesses, the armed men had moved from shops and houses, stealing gas cylinders and other household goods.
Mekuonyo kwa sababu hata sisi wanafunzi huku tumekuwa tukihangaika na mambo kama hayo. Vitu havikai, hatuvikai kwa nyumba, unapata nyumba imevunjwa. Na kwa hivyo ni kumaanisha si watu hawajui hili eneo, wanalijua vizuri. Kwa hivyo imefurahia, imewapatia changamoto wezi wengine, hawatawahi rudia hivyo.
They fled the scene after the police shot at the motor vehicle they were using, which was later recovered. 2 suspects were gunned down and the police have launched a manhunt for the other 2 who escaped with gunshot wounds. Kiambu appealed to the local hospitals to report any person who might sought medical attention, even as they appealed to the residents of the area to provide information that will lead to the arrest of the other criminals.
Now, an alcohol bill row has left 2 brothers dead after one of them stabbed the other on the chest before turning the knife on himself in Naivasha. The 2, aged 31 and 29, were drinking in one of the local bars when they differed over the bill, leading to a tussle.
The incident in Kinungi village off the Nairobi-Nakuru highway left residents in shock as relatives and friends tried to come to terms with the deaths.
Vile nimewahoji madugu zake na madada zake, wananiambia ya kwamba, wananialifu ya kwamba hawakuwa wamegombana hata kidogo. Yani, na tena wale watoto vile tulikuwa tunakutananga kwa barabara ni marafiki wa karibu sana. Walikuwa mmoja hawachi yule mwingine.
The elder one, identified as Joseph Kagwema, stabbed the younger brother Simon Kamau on the chest while at the bar, and on arrival at his nearby home used the same knife to slit his throat and was pronounced dead on arrival at Naivasha Sub-County Hospital. Speaking on phone, Naivasha OCPD Samuel Waweru confirmed the case, adding that an inquest file has been opened and both bodies taken to Naivasha mortuary.
Sasa kitu ya kushangaza, hatujui shetani gani aliingilia huyu mmoja ndio akatoa yule mwingine roho. Lakini kwa biashara huwezi wakosa wakiwa wawili. Huwezi wakosa, ukimpata huyu ujue mwingine yako hapa.
Elsewhere, property of unknown value burned to ashes at Mabole Secondary School in Butere constituency. The fire broke out while students were in their remedial studies. At least 100 students have been affected by the fire incident. Area Assistant DCC Barnabas Kipsang said investigation is still underway to determine the cause of the fire.
Hii incident ilifanyika wakati wanafunzi walikuwa kutatarasa, na hatuwezi sema ni nini ilifanyika kwa sababu tunangojea hizo reports ya Kenya Power ndio iweze kujulikana nini lilifanyika mpaka tometri kachomeka.
In Migori County, M-Pesa Foundation, in partnership with the Kenya Relief, has offered aid in constructing and equipping 67-bed maternal units to help reduce the maternal and child deaths in the region. Upon completion of the facility will reduce the burden of families transferring their children outside Migori County for higher level care. And in Roysambu constituency, residents of Kamai in Kahawa West have welcomed the President Uhuru Kenyatta's directive that they be issued with their title deeds, which have been delayed for years. The residents say the President's directive for part of the Kenyatta University land to be hived and transferred to the Kamai squatters was timely. The resident claimed their efforts to own a title deed have for years been thwarted by the university management.
Lakini wao ndio wamekuwa kizingiti, wamekuwa wakizuia serikali kutupatia hizo titles. Lakini sasa tunashukuru kwa sababu Rais Muigai Kenyatta amesema yeye hatoki mamlakani, amebakisha siku chache tu, siku 21. Lakini yeye ameahidi hatoki kwa ofisi kama watu wa Kamai hawajapata title.
Aged only 21 when in the year 2011 he actualized his love for pig farming, starting with a stock of 6. Today, Kefa Gathogo owns close to 1,000 pigs in 2 separate farms and also has a cottage industry for processing animal feeds. Our reporter Yusuf Farah visited one of the farms at the Ekatano area in Kiambu County and filed the following report for this week's episode on the young and industrious.
Located in the Ekatano area of Kiambu County is the Gadites farm, one of the pig-rearing farms owned by 28-year-old Kefa Gathogo. Here we meet the entrepreneur, and after changing into the farm gear, it's time to go check out what goes on here. Inside, it's feeding time. From the ones that are ready to hit the market, placed in this visitor's shed, to the newly born piglets, this shed plays host to over 300 pigs. Kefa didn't, however, start here. He ventured into pig rearing in 2011 in his father's Kiambu farm with 6 pigs. 4 of them died.
The 2 of them remained, but at least I was able to lead them all the way to maturity, and then all the way to the maturity, and then I was able to sell them when they were pregnant. So I fetched a better price. And actually the first time I got my 50K, I remember, at one go.
Gathogo, who is a graduate of Business and Information Technology from the Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology, says his resilience in the business, boosted by $500,000 shilling loan courtesy of the Youth Enterprise Development Fund, has seen his business grow to what it is today. Kefa now owns this farm and another one which does farrowing for the pigs. Located in Kiambu is his commercial feed shop, where he gets the feeds for his farm as well as selling the same to other clients. Business is booming, and the entrepreneur has been able to employ other people to assist with the running of the business.
So we have 2 butcheries. We have 4 people we have employed. And it's a business also that liquidates you. In case of any, in case of any trouble that you have or any emergency that you have, you can always liquidate an animal. So these are more of my bank, I would say, and they pay me if I take care of them.
Mimi sana wanakwenda driving school, so nimetamani pala Kajiado ndio nijifunze driving, so nisimame pia kimaisha mimi na yangu. Tamani funga job yangu kama hii. Pia naandikia hata pia watu pia na tusaidiane, pia wajiri watu kazi na inaweza kuwa smart.
The venture has seen him grow to being fully dependent on it for his livelihood.
So one thing that I've done, I would say tangible thing that I've done with this business that I always see every day, is definitely the love of my life. Everything was funded by this business. I was also been able to buy a property. I have a car, I would say. I literally survive on this business. So definitely everything that you see in me, it's about this business.
Kefa points out the high cost of animal feed as a major hindrance to the success of the business.
It's a capital-intensive project. We talk of at least the earliest you can cash in is about 2.5 months, and literally that animal is only eating every day. So it's quite. If you have 100 animals and they are doing like 8 shillings a day, that's money that you have to have prepared in advance, or you have various ways of how to liquidate yourself. Second is about the diseases. We have the swine fever, the African swine fever, the foot and mouth also does affect the animals, and those leads to huge losses.
What is his vision for the Gadates farm, I ask him.
A lot of commitment definitely is needed, and a lot of lessons have been learned through the journey. But I think the way I see the business is you grow in valuation. You grow more in valuation because these animals also, they multiply every day. Though they feed, there's that cost of feeding. At least if you do enough sales that facilitate the cost of the day, you're good in this business.
For the young, passionate entrepreneur, his growth means the growth of others, and he lives to learn and give the business his all.
Garded Farms has been able to employ 12 pairs of hands to help with the running of the business, but the young entrepreneur is not quite done yet. He hopes to secure a second loan from the Youth Enterprise Fund to help with expansion of the business and create more employment for the youth. Yusufa reporting for Young and Industrious from the Ekatano area in Kiambu County.
Thank you, Farah. And now we cross over to the county of Kiambu, where Kenya Kwanza team is campaigning ahead of the August polls this afternoon. And currently they are in Ruiru. Let's listen in.
Create millions of jobs and opportunities for the young people of our nation. Let me say this again. Wacha nirudie tena niseme, mambo ya ajira ya vijana sio maneno tena ya kuchezea, ya kulete mchezo ndani yake. Hawa majamaa tunashindana na wao, mumesikia ati wanakuja hapa Ruiru. Vijana TV, vijana Tialala, vijana Ria. Sio ni ukumbavu? Sio ni hekaya ya bunwasi? Mimi nataka niwaambie, different from them, sisi kama Kenya Kwanza tumesema tumeweka master plan, Marshall plan ya ajira ya vijana wa taifa letu la Kenya kwa leather, textile, agro-processing, value addition, manufacturing, housing. Tunaweka bilioni 200 ili tupange ajira ya hawa vijana wetu wa taifa la Kenya. Tuko pamoja? Na tulikuwa na hiyo mpango pale nyuma, lakini majamaa wa handshake walikuja wakaisambaratisha, wakatupeleka kwa BBI, wakatupeleka kwa rege, wakaturingia ati nobody can stop rege, lakini rege ilisimama, haikusimama. Ilikwama, haikukwama. Mimi nataka niwaulize ndugu zangu watu wa Ruiru, mkubali safari hii tuunde serikali ambayo itapanga ajira ya vijana kabla hatujapanga mambo mengine yoyote. Tunakubaliana na nyinyi? Tunakubaliana na nyinyi? Tunakubaliana na nyinyi? Nimeona sinema iko hapo, nitajipanga na wewe boss. Jambo la tatu, tunasema wera ni wera. Tunasema kazi ni kazi jameni. Ama mnasemaje Ruiru? Tunasema kazi, kazi, kazi. Wacha niwaambie hivi. Tumesema wakati tunapanga ajira ya wale vijana wengine, tutapanga ajira kwa mambo ya digital, tutapanga ajira ya biashara zingine, tutapanga ajira kwa agro processing, lakini vile vile lazima tupange nafasi ya biashara kwa wale watu wengine. Na ndio tumesema tunaweka safari hii pesa ya serikali kwa biashara ya mwananchi wa kawaida. Ndio tumesema tutakuwa na Hustlers Fund ambayo itakuwa na bilioni 50, pesa ambayo unaweza kukopa bila ya interest uweze kuinua biashara yako. Sio lazima ujulikane, sio lazima uwe na logbook, sio lazima uwe na title deed, sio lazima uwe na chochote. Bora uwe katika sako ama cooperative, hiyo pesa utapata na haitakuwa na interest yoyote, ndio tuweze kuinua biashara ya kila mtu. Jameni, mkubali ndio tuweze kuondoa madharau. Nyinyi mnajua ile madharau iko Kenya hii. Simulisikia hawa jamaa wa kuzimia ati wanasema hawa watu wa bodaboda ati ni wakora.
Deputy President William Ruto leading campaigns in Ruiru, the county of Kiambu. Kamchemenza is on that bit. The DP is also expected to visit Kiambu town constituency, Githunguri town constituency, and Wagige market, and also Kikuyu town. We will be bringing you details as events unfold. This as Azmiola Umoja team is pitching camp in the county of Kilifi, and they are visiting Marafa, Watamu and Rabai areas. Now, in other news, Migori Senator Ochilo Ayako wants the government to review the recently created administrative boundaries in Nyatike, Migori County to avert future inter-clan wrangles. Ayako says factors such as ethnic ties and clan interests ought to have been put into consideration by engaging clan elders before subdividing expansive sub-county. Ayako, who held a consultative meeting with elders drawn from the dominant Karungu clan that borders Lake Victoria, said the review is necessary for the stability of Nyatike's economy. The decision to create two sub-counties, namely North and South in the region, has however been contested on grounds that it has marginalized some communities.
The information available was that it was subdivided into two, and that the headquarters is supposed to be in Miuru Township, or the other side of the sub-county.
Kutoka Karungu mpaka county ya Homa Bay mpaka Nyatike ni mbali. Wazee wetu hawezi kutembea mpaka kule Nyatike. Hata kuna wakati walikuwa wanatengeneza mambo ya hii pesa ya wazee. Wazee walitembea sana. Wengine walilala njiani. Na ndipo tulionelea tuulize serikali kama wanaweza kubali sisi watu wa Karungu tupate sub county DC awe Karungu.
The Jubilee Party has promised to support the bill on the conservation and management of wildlife as amended by Lamu County Woman Representative Ruweida Mohammed if Raila Odinga takes power after the August polls. Jubilee Party Chairman Nelson Zuya says the bill will go a long way in addressing the plight of fishermen at the coasts.
Speaking to fishermen in villages of Kizingitini and Faza in Lamu East, Jubilee Party National Chairman Nelson Zuya asked people to elect leaders with development policies. He said that Raila Odinga's government will remove tax on fuel used by fishermen to boost their economy. He also added that the Conservation and Management of Wildlife Bill, as amended by Lamu County Women Representative Ruweida Mohammed, will ensure that fishermen who are injured or even killed by marine animals are compensated.
Tunataka kuondoa ushuru kwa mafuta yale mnatumia kwa boti zenyu. Ile bei mnanunua mafuta diesel ya kuendesha boti zenu, tunataka tuondoe ushuru, ile bei iwe chini ili muweze kufanya kazi yenu kwa urahisi.
Ruweida also spoke against laws that prevent lobster fishermen from catching other types of fish and limiting those fishing for home consumption for catching more than 5 kilograms of fish a day.
Ikiwa wewe ni mtonyi wa samaki wa kichoveo, huna ruhusa kutukua zaidi ya kilo 5. Ikiwa wewe ni mvuvi wa kamba, utakuwa huna ruhusa wewe kuvua aina samaki mwingine yoyote isipokuwa kamba. Ikiwa ni wakani hivyo hivyo. Hiyo sheria ni mbaya sana. itatumaliza huku kabisa.
Reporting for Lunchtime News, I am Bessa Kuria.
You are watching the Lunchtime News. Thank you so much for your company. Also on our social media platforms, quick acknowledgements. Joel watching KBC Channel 1 from Narok. Nicholas Mangoli watching KBC Channel 1 from the county of Nairobi. We are taking a short commercial break. We'll be back with more. Stay with us.
Do you have a news story to share with KBC? Get in touch swiftly on email news@kbc.co.ke or call 0723-892-654 or 0734-780-124.
Beatrice Chepkoech, the fastest woman in the world, becomes the world champion here in Doha.
The World Athletics Championships is being hosted in Oregon, in the United States of America, for the first time ever from 15th to 24th of July 2022. An estimated 2,000 base track and field athletes representing more than 200 nations will come together in a celebration of diversity, human potential, and athletic achievement. Short races are not the only attractions. Marathon, magnificent throws.
Is it going to be long enough? Oh, it's a huge throw.
And outstanding jumps among other disciplines is expected as well. Although an immense task awaits them, our own Team Kenya is adequately represented by resolute athletes ready to liven up Hayward Field at the University of Oregon.
What a race, what heart. Oh my goodness me, so close.
Don't miss a single glorious moment, live and exclusive on KBC Channel 1. KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
Agatha, ebufungu hiyo mdomo yako kubwa. Look here, Kemundo. As I said, we have work to do. So please, excuse us.
Teacher is a teacher in order calling us low lives.
Me low lives. Can you stop interrupting my line of presentation?
Sir, what is that you're taking that is making you frown?
No, this is chamomile tea with a pinch of turmeric, cardamom and cinnamon. All of you are rusas, I'm telling you. Rusas nyinyi wote.
Generation inakuja ni sisi tunalidi nchi.
Justina Wangui wa Mae, Root Party of Kenya.
Ukiitwa deputy itika.
Martha Wangari Karua, Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Coalition Party.
Tungetaka tuseme Wakenya wameamua.
Rigathi Gachagua, UDA.
We are coming to bring in change.
Ruth Wambui Musheru, Agano Party. Battle of the Deputies. The Deputy Presidential Debate live on the 19th July 2022, 5 p.m. to 9 p.m.
Thank you for staying with us. Welcome back. You're watching the Lunchtime News. U.S. President Joe Biden is set to meet de facto Saudi Arabia ruler Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman in a controversial summit in Saudi Arabia. Among the issues to be discussed between the two leaders are energy supplies, human rights, and security cooperation.
President Joe Biden will meet Palestinian leaders in the occupied West Bank region on Friday before he flies to a controversial summit in Saudi Arabia. His meeting with Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas is likely to be strained after ties hit a low under the Trump administration. Later, Biden will travel to Saudi Arabia to meet its de facto ruler Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman together with his father King Salman. 2 years ago, Biden had labeled Saudi Arabia as a pariah over the 2018 murder of writer Jamal Khashoggi by Saudi agents. The prince denies involvement, but U.S. intelligence reports concluded that he approved it. To Europe now, Italy is latching into a crisis after Prime Minister Mario Draghi tendered in his resignation after the populist coalition partner Five Star withdrew its support in a confidence vote. Draghi, the former head of the European Central Bank, was appointed last year by President Mattarella to lead Italy's post-COVID recovery team and has led a unity government since February of last year. President Sergio Mattarella has, however, refused to accept his resignation. To Sri Lanka now. Sri Lanka's parliament has accepted ousted President Gotabaya Rajapaksa's resignation, ending rule by a family that wielded power for nearly 20 years. Rajapaksa quit after fleeing to Singapore amid mass protest over his mismanagement of the country's economy. Sri Lanka is in the grip of economic chaos as it faces an acute shortage of food, fuel, and other basic supplies. Rajapaksa's resignation paves the way for the country to begin the process of electing a new president, with Sri Lanka's Speaker of Parliament Mahinda Yapa saying that the parliament would convene a special sitting on Saturday in order to start the process. Elsewhere, Ivana Trump, first wife to former U.S. President Donald Trump and mother to his 3 eldest children, has died aged 73. Trump made the announcement on his social media platform, Truth Social. Ivana and Trump got married in 1977, divorcing 15 years later in 1992. Police believe the cause of death may be accidental, as she was found unconscious near a staircase at her New York City home. Reporting for Lunchtime News, I'm Daniel.
And time for Channel 1 Business News. Africa Merchant Assurance Company, Amaco, is staring at the auctioneer's hammer after it failed to settle claims amounting to 19 million shillings. The Insurance Regulatory Authority has given the underwriters 7 days to pay Mama Rael Foundation 19 million shillings, failure to which its assets will be seized and auctioned. This follows a High Court ruling that ordered Amaco to pay the full amount within 30 days, but the insurance company has failed to uphold the court ruling months down the line.
Insurance company Africa Merchant Assurance Company, Amaco, is on the receiving end for failing to pay an NGO firm, Mama Rael Memorial Foundation, 19 million shillings debt. This after a High Court judge ruled in favor of Mama Rael, directing the immediate release of the amount. The NGO, however, says the insurer, Africa Merchant Assurance Company, has been taking them rounds, citing it has hidden both assets and money in bank accounts. The two are embroidered in a court dispute that has also entangled Access Bank, which also has been accused of aiding the insurer to conceal the actual bank balances. The NGO wrote to the Commissioner of Insurance and the Insurance Regulatory Authority, complaining that Amaco's move has made it cumbersome to execute a court order dated January 31st, 2022, which allowed it to demand the money. In response, the Insurance Regulatory Authority has ordered Africa Merchant Assurance Company to pay Mama Rael Memorial Foundation the full amount within 7 days, failure to which its assets will be seized and auctioned. Last month, Amaco went to court to block auctioning of its assets, but the insurance firm failed in its bid after Justice Dora Chepkwony said Amaco failed to offer a substantive explanation for the delay in filing the request to hold execution of the magistrate's ruling dated May 23, 2019, which allowed the foundation to demand the amount.
The World Bank will spend 29 billion shillings to fund agricultural activities in the country. The fund, targeting 27 counties, will go towards a value addition project targeting at least 500,000 small-scale farmers. The World Bank has so far distributed 60 million shillings to boost banana, poultry, and local vegetable production in the county of Kisii.
The 28.8 billion shillings in form of credit will finance smallholder farmers across 9 value chains in a bid to enhance value addition and access to markets. The targeted areas include dairy, poultry, banana, mango, avocado, cashew nut, apiculture, vegetables, coffee, cotton, and pyrethrum value chains. The bank is targeting the National Agricultural and Rural Inclusive Growth Project and the Kenya Climate Smart Agriculture Project, focusing on the subset of farmers drawn from these two projects. The funding will also scale up value addition and market linkages with agribusiness off-takers and small and medium enterprises, support farmer-led irrigation development, enhance access to credit, and support the rollout of urban food system, pilot in selected clusters. According to Kisii Governor James Ongwae, 2 new markets will be built at Marani and Magena at a cost of 100 million shillings each, funded by the World Bank Fund.
Sasa wametupatia project mpya ambayo inaitwa National Agricultural Value Chain Development Project. Na tutapatiwa nyinyi farmers mutapatiwa 60 million shillings.
The county will receive a total of 261.5 million shillings, targeting farmers in the vegetable value chain and special interest groups. Reporting for Lunchtime News, I'm Terry Njenga.
Nakuru is predominantly a tourist destination, ideal for conferencing and holidaying. The region's attractions are based on physical landscape, stay-in facilities, and wildlife. In this week's episode of Magical Sense, I take you to the county of Nakuru. Take a look. Welcome to Nakuru, Kenya's newest city located in the Rift Valley. Nakuru enjoys the privileges of urban centers and beauty of diversity in architecture, nature, conferencing facilities, and accommodation. Families, friends, colleagues appreciate the beauty of this destination owing to the luxury that comes with it, ample space and tranquility.
If you come as a family and want just to have a day out, it still serves your purpose. If you want to be around the parks, one of our best parks like the Nakuru National Park, America will be a very good stopover as you make your move either to the Mara, to Lake Bogoria to see the flamingos, either to Lake Nakuru.
This is where we always come for our coffee, sometimes for our dinner, because it's a nice place. The hospitality is superb, the scenery is good, and also it's somewhere where you can have a meeting with silent. I'm a business lady, so I like coming here for business meetings because it's a nice place. Their food is good, their services are good, and we love everything about Meru.
This beautiful space boasts of a relaxed and modern design facility, priding in sweeping views of the Nakuru town, comfortable sitting, and access to an outdoor terrace.
Most of the time, people tend to think that it's just a jungle of concrete, but we want to create a different impression. It is still in very good touch with nature and ensure that you enjoy that.
The destination is arguably ideal for business meetings, tropical holidaying, and getaways, complemented by nature parks around the region. They say nothing compares to nature's beauty. Nakuru is one of the destinations that you would visit throughout the year owing to favorable weather conditions, and you would engage in varied activities at your own pace. Irene, Muchuma, Odim, Magical Sense in the county of Nakuru. And the United States have agreed to start a new round of talks in a bid to craft a trade and economic pact. Nairobi and Washington have identified 10 areas of cooperation. A statement by the two countries says a team of experts will be set up in the next 3 months to craft a trade pact which will be signed by the two governments. The development now throws into disarray a previous draft trade agreement developed during former President Donald Trump's era and hailed by the U.S. as a model trade agreement for Africa.
Kenyatta signed a free trade agreement with the then U.S. President Donald Trump based on a reciprocal trading ground for both countries. The agreement was hailed by President Trump as a model trade pact to be replicated in Africa. However, the negotiations failed after the Trump administration was voted out, leaving the trade talks in limbo. Last year, Kenya signed a private sector trade agreement with the United States aimed at giving small, micro and medium enterprises an opportunity to sell their wares to the U.S. without any restrictions. Last month, Trade Cabinet Secretary Betty Maina and her American counterpart Catherine Tai agreed to embark on talks aimed at jump-starting the trade agreement. A statement released by the Ministry of Trade says the two countries will in the next 3 months craft a team to develop a draft agreement focusing on 10 key areas of agriculture, digital trade, regulatory practices and MSMEs among other areas. The Ministry of Trade says it is expected to announce the names of the experts to represent Kenya in the planned negotiations. Already, Kenya's textile and clothes enjoy tax-free access to the American market under the African Growth and Opportunity Act.
Following the World Bank's prediction that many developing countries are at risk of experiencing a financial crisis like Sri Lanka, many countries in the continent might find themselves at the brink of economic doom. This is partly because COVID pushed countries to borrow more money for their pandemic response. And we have details on this and many more in our international news roundup.
Many countries like Nigeria and Zambia are doing what Sri Lanka did, announcing tax rebates and energy subsidies to quell unrest. Experts believe that nations like Egypt, Burkina Faso and Mali are close to the brink. Alarms have also been raised about the economic situation in Kenya, South Africa and Ethiopia, where a spillover from the Ukraine conflict could damage the country's financial stability. According to reports, countries like Somalia and Ethiopia depend on imports from Russia and Ukraine have been experiencing the worst drought for 40 years. As a result, over 15 million people face acute hunger, while Oxfam and Save the Child survey estimated that one person is already dying every 48 seconds. Meanwhile, the International Monetary Fund, IMF, said it has agreed to work with the Ghanaian government on a program that will restore the country's microeconomic and debt stability. The program is expected to help the country take care of its balance of payment deficits, which currently are at about $1 billion. It would also help the country to stem inflation, which accelerated to 29.8% earlier this week. These extreme challenges recently forced Ghana to reconsider its policy decision not to seek financial help from the International Monetary Fund, IMF. Finally, the president of the African Development Bank Group, AFDB, Akinom Adesina, is set to travel to Marrakech, Morocco on Monday for a 4-day visit. The visit highlights the strong relations between Morocco and the AFDB, with the North African country being the bank's premier partner with a large portfolio of top-tier operations that position it as a leader in multiple domains on the continent. On Tuesday, the officials will attend the general meeting of Africa 50, a Pan-African infrastructure fund in Casablanca. On the same day, AFDB's president will also attend the United States Africa Business Summit, which will occur in Marrakech under the theme Building Forward Together.
China's economy contracted sharply in the second quarter of this year as widespread coronavirus lockdowns hit businesses and consumers. Its gross domestic product fell by 2.6% as the country continued to pursue its zero-COVID policy. However, analysts say the economy is expected to rebound later this year as Beijing eases tough COVID protocols. Here now are the details of this story and others from across the globe.
On a year-on-year basis, China, the world's second-largest economy, expanded by 0.4% in the April-June quarter, missing expectations of 1% growth. It has faced its worst second-quarter GDP growth as lockdowns, notably in Shanghai, severely impacted activity at the start of the quarter. Official figures for last month showed an improvement in the country's economic performance after many of those curbs were lifted. Although the GDP was worse than expected, unemployment fell to 3.5% and retail sales outperformed impressively, leading financial markets to likely concentrate on retail figures. Despite these, the real estate downturn continued to drag on growth as the country's once booming property market rolls into a deep slump, making the outlook for global economy to weaken sharply in recent months. Meanwhile, talks between SAS Airlines and pilot unions are due to resume on Friday as the parties seek to deal to end a strike that the carrier says is threatening its existence. A majority of SAS pilots in Sweden, Denmark and Norway walked out on July 4th after negotiations of a new collective agreement collapsed. SAS had been struggling in the face of increased low-cost competition for years before the COVID-19 pandemic heaped pressure on all airlines. It says the strike has caused 2,550 flight cancellations, affecting 270,000 passengers and costing the airline millions of dollars. Finally, the number of Americans filing new claims for unemployment benefits increased to an 8-month high last week, suggesting some cooling in the labor market amid rising interest rates and tighter financial conditions. Despite the second-largest straight weekly rise in claims reported by the Labour Department, labour market conditions remain tight with very few people on the unemployment rolls. The Federal Reserve is raising borrowing costs to dampen demand for workers and ultimately slow the overall economy as it battles to bring inflation down to its 2% target.
And time for us to get to sports news. Former Football Kenya Federation President Nick Mwendwa failed to appear in court as directed by the magistrate court in Kiambu. Mwendwa had been accused to have conspired Kenya Football Federation of over 30 million shillings. According to the defense lawyer, they came with an order to ask the Kiambu Law Court to stop the plea, saying the High Court had directed for the hearing in the High Court before the plea.
14 days so as to report to court the position of the file in Nairobi or the matter in Nairobi.
Serena Williams will continue her comeback next month at the National Bank Open in Toronto, Canada. The 23-time Grand Slam singles champion played in her first singles tournament for a year at Wimbledon, but did not commit on her future plans. However, the 40-year-old American has signed up to play at one of the U.S. Open warm-up tournaments beginning on the 8th of August. She has won the U.S. Open 6 times, but is currently unranked, having not won a single match for more than a year. Williams returned to a competitive tennis in the doubles at Eastbourne last month, having not played since retiring from the game.
Failed to trouble the Nigeria backline, and coach Gabriel Zabo will hope they can do more when the team enters repechage tie on Sunday as
on to Nigeria. Long ball from Chansey this time. Prompted does get there. Second bite of the cherry, still alive. The goalkeeper
African champions Nigeria secured a slot in Women's World Cup in a row after thrashing Cameroon 1-0 in the quarterfinals of Women's African Cup of Nations in Casablanca.
Today and decide who will join Morocco in the semi-final. Long ball played in Chelsea.
Rashadat Ajibade's 57th minute header ensured Nigeria will meet host Morocco in Monday's late semi-final. Cameroon's key player Njoya Njara and skipper Gabriel Ogwene failed to trouble the Nigeria backline, and coach Gabriel Zabo will hope they can do more when the team enters repechage tie on Sunday as they play against Botswana in Rabat. In other matches, South Africa secured their place at the 2023 FIFA Women's World Cup after defeating Tunisia 1-0 to advance to the semi-finals. Jemaine Seopesene gave South Africa an early lead in the 14th minute, but South Africa wasted good chances only to limp over the line after a VAR checked a possible Tunisia penalty in stoppage time. South Africa, who will play Zambia in Monday's first semi-final, should have been out of sight with Nexolo Kansane, the biggest culprit, blazing over after a fine Linda Matalo ran just before the hour.
Our apologies, that was a news item on reigning African champions Nigeria qualified for a 9th Women's World Cup in a row after they beat Cameroon 1-0 in the quarterfinals of the Women's Africa Cup of Nations in Casablanca. South Africa sealed their return to the Women's World Cup after a narrow 1-0 win over Tunisia in Rabat. And now we get to the Serena US Open news item. Serena Williams will continue her comeback next month at the National Bank Open in Toronto, Canada. The 23rd time Grand Slam singles champion played in her first singles tournament for a year at Wimbledon, but did not commit on her future plans. However, the 40-year-old American has signed up to play at one of the US Open warm-up tournaments beginning on 8th of August. She has won the US Open 6 times, but is currently unranked, having not won a singles match for more than a year. Williams returned to competitive tennis in the doubles at Eastbourne last month, having not played since retiring from an injury from her first round match at Wimbledon last year. And it's time to wind up the bulletin, but quick acknowledgements for our social media company. John Kibira, watching KBC Channel 1, equally to Steve Ndungu and Amunga Nedi. Also David Wekesa. The list could go on and on. Time is not on our side. For more details on Just Add News and many more, do log on to www.kbc.co.ke. On behalf of the entire team, thank you for your company. My name is Irene Muchuma Odem. On language interpretation, we have Anne Wangeshi. Good afternoon.
Kupata ulimi na mafikira kama skiza tune kwenye simu yako, bonyeza *811 *815 hash.
Hey, my friend, ulimi ni kama msumari na mafikira ni kama nyundo. Hizo vitu mbili zikishikana, zinaweza jenga ama zinaweza bomoa. Haki na zita fadhali. Hebu fikiria hiyo kitu nataka kuniambia kabla nishike hii simu. Kama unataka kunibomoa, toa hiyo simu kwa masikio. Unaona hiyo kitu ya red? Finya hiyo kitu ya red.
Kupata ulimi na mafikira, bonyeza *811 *815 hash. *811 *815